Welcome, friends. Welcome back to the kitchen. This is not what was on sale at the grocery store, but it's kind of what was on sale at the grocery store adjacent. Just before Christmas, Julie and I were planning a road trip for Boxing Day. We were driving to Quebec City. We were going to have sandwiches. We're at the grocery store. We go to the deli counter. Deli meat was just so ridiculous. And so Julie said, well, let's just get a little ham. One of those little football hams, you know, the formed meat ham. We'll get one of those. We'll slice it up and we'll make sandwiches, because the drive to Quebec City is like 7.5, 8 hours. And so while we're standing there looking at the football hams and the unbelievable cost of what they are, right beside it in the bunker were giant, like full-sized hams with the bone and the whole deal. And so for 4 times the amount of meat, it only cost twice as much as the little formed football ham. So I bought the bigger one, brought it home, carved off what we needed to make sandwiches, carved off the rest and put it in the freezer. And Julie and I will eat that over the winter. And it left me with the bone and a lot of trimmings. So, you know, this is skin and there's little bits of meat and cartilage and all kinds of other stuff in here, right? And so 3 or 4 days before Christmas, I put this container in the freezer, forgot about it. It said later in the winter, I'm going to make a soup. So here we are, week and a half into the new year, and I'm going to make a soup with it tomorrow. Today I'm going to make the stock, or is it a broth? People could argue about that endlessly. I've read all of the books, I've done all of the research, and it just doesn't matter. I know that some people are going to say, anyway, I'm not even going to go into it. We're going to end that there. So I've got a stock pot. And to the stock pot, I'm going to add all of the ham bits. So bone, skin, bits of meat, bits of cartilage, that all goes in. We'll get it all off the counter. There we go. Now I know there's people out there who are looking for the perfect way to do this. And I'm going to tell you, there is no perfect way. There's the best way for you to do it based on what you have in your home. If you've got a pot and you've got some fire, you're good to go. If you go back on the channel, I don't know, 10 years ago, you'll see me do this same process in a crock pot or a slow cooker. And those are great. Put it on 10, 12 hours. It doesn't bring it to a boil and you get a nice, clean, clear tasting stock or broth. I've also done it, you go back 10 years on the channel, I did it in a pressure cooker. Again, you get an incredible stock, and that only takes about an hour and a half, about an hour of cooking and about a half an hour of letting it cool down on its own to release the pressure slowly, sort of like a decompression chamber. That's the way my grandmother did it. You get a stock or broth really quickly, it's clear, it tastes great. I've done it in the oven. I would put it in the pot with a lid that goes in the oven, set the oven to like 200 degrees, just below boiling, and sit it in there and let it go for 4 or 5 hours while I was doing other stuff around the house. Not on the stovetop, which can be a little bit more variable in heat, especially if you've got an electric stovetop with a coil or an electric stovetop with the glass that has the light underneath, the quartz light. This is induction magnets. Really easy to control your heat. All of those are great ways to do it. I'm a firm believer in not bringing it to a boil because I think it gives a clearer stock. But if what you have to do is get this soup on the table tonight for dinner and you only want to spend an hour and a half, turn it up and boil it. Boil it for all it's worth. You will get a very flavorful broth. Next in are some aromatics. So I've got some finely chopped up celery, finely chopped up onion, and finely chopped up carrot. None of that vegetable that I just put in is going to make it to the end soup. It will be discarded with the bones and the skin and all of that stuff. By the time you've made this stock, the flavorful broth, there will be no flavor left in those vegetables. All of the nutrients from those vegetables, or almost all of the nutrients, will be in the broth. They will be mushy. They just go out. So I tend to cut these really small now to get the flavor out. If you wanted to follow a very classical sort of LaRousse method to do this, you would keep the aromatic vegetables out. You would cover the bones and meat and cartilage and all that stuff with water. So I've got 2 liters of water here and it just about covers it. I'll probably add another liter before I walk away. You would put the bones and everything in with cold water. You would bring that up to a boil. And then you would take all of the bones and the meat and the cartilage out of that water. You would put it into another pot and you would put in clean water. So you would do sort of a blanch first, and then you would make your stock. And the idea was that that blanch would take away all of the proteins and the scum and the sorts of things that cause the broth to be cloudy. Kind of works. Definitely kind of works. All of these things kind of work. So really what you need to do is just get in the kitchen and make it. So what I'm going to let this go, I'm going to get another liter of water. I'm going to pour that on. I'm going to bring this up to a low simmer. Just having little bubbles break the surface, not a whole rolling boil. And I'm going to let that go for probably 3.5 or 4 hours. No lid, just keep an eye on it. And so that's how it's been for about 5 hours now. And you can just see every once in a while, just a little bit of a bubble coming up to the top. You can also see on the side of the pan how much it has concentrated over that cooking time. So I'm going to turn off the heat and we will strain out the solids. Okay, so I'm going to pour this out into a container. This is a plastic container. It is heat safe. This liquid is not boiling. This is heat safe up to temperature much, much higher than I could ever get something boiling. Simple strainer. You could go all out and put some cheesecloth in there if you wanted to really trap all of the tiny little bits. I'm not all that concerned. So I'm going to strain this out. I'm going to leave it overnight. Again, a step that you don't need to do. I'm going to leave it overnight because I want to pull the fat off the top. With the skin and all the fatty bits that were in here, there will be quite a bit of fat on the top of this stock tomorrow. Now, so I'll just leave this on the counter until it comes down to room temperature, then I'll stick it in the fridge and tomorrow we'll move on. In the meantime, there is some meat in here. I'm going to give it a taste. Usually, there's no flavor left in it. There's no flavor left in it, and the texture is horrible because it has been bubbling away in there for 5 hours. So this goes out to the compost. I will see you tomorrow. Okay, it's tomorrow, or it's 10 seconds later, depending on whose timeline you're living in. I've got the rest of the soup ingredients out here. Our stock or broth has set up nicely. That's going to taste fantastic. So we're going to make the soup at this point. Got bacon fat. You're saving your fat, right? You're saving your bacon fat, your pork fat, your beef fat, chicken fat, whatever, and you're hanging on to it and you're using it like this. Great way to save a little bit of money and a great way to cook as well, because it brings so much more flavor to the end dish. So in goes the fat. Now, I've got veg that I'm going to put in. I've got celery just chopped up nice and fine. Carrots from our garden. We're getting pretty low on the carrots from our garden. I can maybe make one more soup, I think. Those go in. And a couple of really small onions diced up. Now, I don't want to fry these. I just want to release some of the liquid and get them going a little bit. I've also got a diced up clove of garlic, again from our garden. It's January, but having a root cellar really helps us keep these vegetables going till they run out, or kind of late winter anyway. So we'll just leave that go for a moment. And over here on our broth, you can see that we've got a layer of fat above the broth, and it's pretty jelly. So I'm going to take a spoon. And I'm going to try and peel back that fat. Now, when I'm peeling this back, I'm getting the fat off the top, but I'm also getting a little bit of the stock coming with it. I'm going to save this fat because save the fat. I will do a step to kind of clarify this to make sure that I don't have any of the jelly in the fat, that what I've got is just pure fat. You don't want it to go bad. You don't want it to go rancid. So you want to clean it up as much as possible. That's a whole other video, and I'll probably do that for you at some point. Great, we'll just check on the veg. That's got a little ways to go yet. Okay, so this is pretty jelly. Let's scoop a little bit out. It is just like Jell-O. I tasted it last night before I put it in the fridge. It tastes amazing. It is a little bit salty, so I'm not going to have to add any salt to this soup. I am also going to put in a little bit of ham, but I don't think it really needs it. I think so much flavor in this stock that combined with the beans, I don't think you'd miss having the ham. So if you're doing this and it's a budget thing, which I'm sure for a lot of people it is a budget thing, and you don't have any ham to put in it, I don't think it's a big deal. It's still going to be a ham soup because this is so packed with that ham flavor. And the beans are going to give you all of the other things that the ham would. I'm really happy with this. I am really happy with that. And it's pretty clear. It is a very clear stock. And that's because we didn't bring it to a boil. It's just a low, gentle simmer. Okay, the veg is looking pretty good. So a little bit of black pepper. Like I said, don't really need any salt. I've got some sprigs of thyme. I'm going to put those in. And I'm going to scoop in some of the stock, and it will melt, liquefy almost as soon as it goes into the pot. Now, I would normally warm this up so that when we were doing this, I would just pour it in. You see me pour it in all the time. But I think it was kind of fun today to show you how it jiggles. Now, I'm not going to use all of it, I don't think. I've got just under 2 liters out of what I made yesterday. I'm going to leave that aside for the moment. I'm going to put in the beans and see where we're at, whether I need to put any more in. Whatever I don't use in the soup will be preserved, and I will use it on another day. So, this is melting nicely. Come to the beans. I'm using canned beans. If you're watching this after the apocalypse, you'll probably be using dry beans. And dry beans are so much more budget friendly. Fully 100% agree with that. And yesterday when I was making the stock, I should have put the beans on to soak. And then this morning I could have put them in a pot, boiled them to cook them to get them ready to go into this soup. Sometimes I'm a little bit lazy because I've got so many things going on. And that was just that one extra thing that was just a little too far for me to do. And it often is when I'm cooking and I'm filming and I'm doing everything. Dry beans, better, much better in terms of budget, in terms of something that stores in your home for longer, all of those things. But if you don't have the time, use a can. No shame in using the can. So I'm using 2 different kinds. I've got black-eyed peas and navy beans, right? So we'll put those in. And I've got a little bit of cubed ham. I'm going to put that in as well. We'll give this a stir and we're good to go. I'll just bring this to a simmer, kind of a low simmer again. I'll put the lid on and I'll let this go. Within about a half an hour, it'll be ready to eat. Often I'll let it go a little bit longer just to sort of develop the flavors more. And then it'll probably be an incredible pot of soup tomorrow after it's rested in the fridge overnight. So I'll just stick the cover on that. And I'll see you when Julie gets home from work. Okay, if you were here last Sunday for the old cookbook show, you saw the steak and kidney pie.
And if you didn't, my friend, you need to go and watch the steak and kidney pie.
Okay.
So the pastry is lovely and buttery and Crispy.
Nope. Nope.
I shouldn't even try it.
Nope. 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 Nope.
Wow, he's not even going to chew it. So the pastry's really good. Wow.
Luckily, today, I cooked 2 things, and I know I'm going to love this soup. So,
Sorry, I didn't even get a chance to say hello because I just started to laugh, Glenn.
ham and bean soup, Jules.
Pretty standard fare.
Now, you could take a stick blender and jam it in there and grind up some of the beans to kind of thicken it and change the texture, or take them out and put them in put them in the blend tech and do the same sort of thing. I didn't do that today because, I don't know, I didn't.
That's okay.
But definitely, if that's something you want to do, go right ahead. Okay.
Hot.
It is hot. That broth is so viscous. That's wonderful.
How long have you been making it, Glenn?
So the broth simmered, stock, whatever you want to call it. Not going to have that argument. It simmered yesterday for about 4 hours, just under the boil, and left it overnight in the fridge so I could skim the fat off. And then today it was just a jiggly jello. It was great.
Did he do that before too?
It was wonderful. And so there's enough left over
Of the jiggly jello?
in containers for another almost pot of soup.
It's nice though. It's a nice soup. I like white beans.
So like I said, mix up your beans, use different beans, put in black beans, use dry beans, use canned beans. I don't care. Use whatever you've got. Mix up the vegetables a little bit if you want. I mean, this could stand other root vegetables to be in there, like parsnips or turnip or rutabaga. You could go different flavorings. Like I only put in the thyme because really this is a ham soup and the ham flavor is really shining through on this. But I mean, you could put in all kinds of other things to flavor it if you wanted to.
There you go.
But this is a really hearty soup for a cold winter's night after having something that's going to give me nightmares for weeks to come.
Now you know what to expect. You just you ruined the surprise of going back and watching it if they didn't see it. Still go back. It's worth the effort. Trust me.
Thanks for stopping by, everybody. See you again soon. Okay, so as soon as I walked out into the studio, I could tell that this was a problem. It's been 45 minutes. Now, let me reread this. Bake in a hot oven from 1.5 to 2 hours. 425 is at the low end of hot oven. Low end of hot oven. 45 minutes is half the lowest amount of time, and this cake is burnt to a crisp. To a crisp.